Got all my Christmas in the back.
I know, you're so festive.
I don't have anything.
Got
the world map back there.
You got shit.
And I got.
You could do like a Carmen Sandiego, like geography lesson.
Yes.
I have a broken mirror and
good.
Whoa.
Dark room.
7 years bad luck.
Technically, so the mirror's not broken, but it did fall off the wall about 4 years ago, and I never hung it back up.
Okay.
Well, then you're safe. Because if you hang it up for use and then you look at it after it's been broken, that's when the curse happens.
Okay.
I made that up. No, I just made it up.
Your fake curses.
Leaning.
Like I completely made that up.
Guys, lean into it.
Okay, hi guys.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back to the show.
Thank
you for having us. Thank
you
for
having us.
It's so great to have you both at the same time. This is like a dream.
I know, but still apart, even though we're married.
Yes.
We're
Separate
in 2
rooms.
different
Double
parts
bed.
of the apartment.
We got like a 1950s house where I sleep in another bed next to her. It's all that.
You guys
know,
have the
we're
two
old school.
twins. You're
Occasionally, you push them together.
And I'll touch your
Special
thigh
occasions.
for foreplay. Yeah, it's very, very nice.
She'll show you her wrist or
Oh,
something.
stop. I'm getting all...
Sweating.
Here's an earlobe.
Here's an earlobe.
So, Steve and Maria, hello. You guys have both been on the show, although separately. Maria, you came on in season 1. I have notes. You came on in season 1. You had 2 episodes, sort of the same topic. The first one was called Glitch in the Maria, which was all about questioning whether or not we live in a simulation. And we talked about deja vu and alternate timelines and the Mandela effect. You actually learned what that was on live, which was really fun because you lost your mind.
Your reactions were so good.
I loved it.
And then you
could
came
hear
on.
her losing her mind.
You really could. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then you came on a couple months later for an episode called Down the Rabbit Hole. And this time we looked at kind of the same stuff, but then we asked like, okay, if we are in a simulation, then what are premonitions? What is God, et cetera, et cetera. And I freaking loved those episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And they were fun. I mean, I literally bore Steven all the time with all of that information.
Yeah.
Like, yo, let's talk about space. God.
It's not that it bores me. It's that you do it at like 2 a.m. when I'm trying to sleep, and you go, "Are you up? What do you think a black hole? What's inside a black hole?" And I'm like, "I don't know.
I don't know. I'm so tired.
I don't know.
Sleeping."
Sleep.
Yeah.
I do. I get crazy.
I know. Joe eventually will be like, will you just call a friend?
Talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's why I text you so much randomly, Ashley, out of nowhere. It'll be like in the morning and I'm sitting there like reading and then I'm like, oh my God, black holes. Yes. And I'll like text you all the time with random stuff. Are we allowed to curse on here?
You can
do we
curse
have like
all you
PG?
want.
Okay.
No,
Okay. Yeah.
let her
Random
rip.
shit.
Yeah.
There. All right.
Shit.
I'm just gonna put a bunch of like beeps in here. And then Steve, you were on just at the end of last season for a Hometown Haunts New York episode that was so great it ended up being 3 parts. So
That's right. Wow.
yeah,
Bobby
it was
New York.
Bobby New York.
Bobby New York.
That's what it was.
That's right.
Bobby New York was so funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That was
so
great.
both of you had episodes in seasons that ended up being sort of fan favorites. So I'm sure everyone's going to be very excited to hear you guys together.
I hope I don't disappoint.
I'll make yeah.
You won't.
I know.
You never
Covering
could.
2 different things too.
Ooh.
I know, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited, you guys.
Before we get into what you came with, can I ask sort of for our listeners, what have you been up to since you were last on? I know, Steve, it's sort of like COVID. COVID is what I've been up to. I've been in the house.
Yeah,
doing
Steven and I have.
yeah, still doing stand up, that Zoom stand up,
Yes.
which isn't really
Yeah.
stand up. I don't know what it is.
Right.
But just that's all. That's it. And cleaning all my shoes. I've cleaned a lot of shoes.
Good.
A
I
lot of
mean,
shoes.
Well, that's something good to do.
Mhm.
That's productive.
Mhm.
yeah, but you guys you have been making really, really, really funny videos in
My
quarantine.
goodness. Yes.
We did actually. I
Mhm.
forgot because I was at the top of quarantine when we're like, let's be creative and just turn it into good. And then, like, you know,
And then you got
months
tired.
later, we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
exhausted. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
the
did.
mundane routine.
My favorite one, I think, was the one where you guys were like, it seemed like you were going in to rob a store, but really you were just like prepping to go grocery shopping. So you had to like, you was like, okay, do we have our gloves? Do we have our masks? And then
Yeah.
it just ended up being
Yeah.
grocery shopping. It was hilarious.
What did we do that? Did we do that for a film festival?
I think we did
No,
it for shits and giggles, to be honest
we
with you.
did.
Yeah.
That's right. I think one day we
Mhm.
were just like, whoa, wouldn't it be like, it's like we in a bank heist, but not, you know? Whoa, but then and then the reveal is that we go into Ralph's. What? Like at that time we were like, yo, we're making like Tarantino worth films.
Listen,
It was so good, though.
I prefer
People
it to
needed it.
Tarantino, so you're fine.
True.
Truth. I have been funny enough in like just engrossed in a town called Genoa City, which exists in a soap opera called The Young and the Restless.
Yes.
You have been killing it.
Thank you. Yeah. So I mean, it's crazy because I booked that job right before COVID like kicked in. And so I was working COVID free for a while. And then I think March 16th was the day that Hollywood sort of shut down.
Yeah.
And then
The
after
world
that, I was
shut
like,
down.
Yeah.
well, the world shut. Yes, the world. I know, right? Like just Hollywood.
Only us.
No,
Mhm.
only us. Poor actors. We had nothing to do. No, really. Yeah, and then I had some episodes that were supposed to shoot in May, but then after everything shut down, I wasn't sure if I was going to be back, and they just kept bringing me back. So, funny enough, the whole year I spent on a show. I spent on a soap opera, which is
amazing.
awesome.
So
Oh, it
good.
was so much fun.
And I cleaned all your
scenario.
shoes.
You did.
Steve cleaned the shoes.
Steve kept cleaning the shoes, you guys. It's
Right.
amazing.
Amazing.
So just because I'm curious, what is it like to be, because I've been on sets before because I did background work, so I kind of get how that works, but I know that soap operas are a different animal because they change so quickly. Yeah. They're writing it like as they're going, as opposed to like the whole season's written.
Because are you taping every single day pretty much? Like you have to learn new lines back to back?
Yes and no. So at the top before COVID, so I started work, I believe it was like February 7th. And then I worked until like the first week of March. When pre-COVID, I wasn't in every episode, yet I did work a lot, and there was a lot of text that I had to memorize. Not as much as the people, like some of the contract players that are literally there every single day.
Yeah.
From 5 a.m. until like 4. Yeah. It's really fast. There was one day I had to do 23 pages, which is kind of like a short film.
Yeah.
In one day. And it was I think my 3rd episode, and I'm brand new. I'm walking into this scenario. I've never been on a soap before. And so it is very different from other sets, because on other sets, I think maybe if you do, let's say you have a scene, you know what I mean? You might do 3 or 4 takes of that scene from different angles. You kind of have practice. But with soaps, it's like, let's say I have 4 scenes in this episode. We're shooting all of my scenes, and you get 1 rehearsal, 1 take, and then you move on. And that's it. So it was very intimidating, but it taught me how to, like, you know, memorize a crack demon. I don't know what that is,
Yeah.
but
Crack
it
demon.
came
Oh,
out,
for
and
sure.
that's yeah.
Oh, wow,
Demon,
that's
yeah.
terrifying.
Yo, crack demons.
That's actually what we're talking about today.
Yeah, that was
today's
gonna be my thing.
Crack demons. But yeah, sometimes I would get scripts and I'm like, so where's it going? I didn't know where
Right.
my storyline was going from the get-go. So
Which is
it was
kind of
of fun.
because if you're
Yeah.
actually that person, you don't know what is going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. My part, I was a crime journalist, and you know, very spunky, kind of, you know, like, whoa, what's Alyssa Montalvo up to? And she was always, you know, peeking around corners and digging into new stories. So when I would get these scripts, it was this really elaborate storyline where I find out that my best friend, who I run into in town, spoiler alert for anybody who watches Weinar, but although Weinar fans, they're extremely
seen
caught
it.
up.
Yeah.
They've seen it. But anyway, I find out that my childhood best friend killed my father
Oh my
when
gosh.
he was like 11 or something. And then he manipulates me to draw up this story because he makes me think that his father killed my father. And then he manipulates me to conjure up this story and uses my like skills to draw up a story so that he can blackmail his father. But then he buries my story because he was just using it for leverage. And then I lose my mind and I come back to Genoa City several times with different motives. And I mean, by the time this airs, information will already have been out. But in my, I've lost my mind, and now I attempted a murder on my best friend. But instead, a cop who was with him gets in the way.
Oh,
And he like takes the bullet for my childhood best friend who I was trying to kill. But I see another guy in the distance who I'm like, oh shoot, what have I done? I'm gonna peg it on him. So I come forward and I say, hey, I witnessed a murder, and I think it was that guy over there. And then it all comes out that I'm a skilled marksman and I was the murderer, and now I'm in jail.
That's 2
oh,
crimes.
damn.
Attempted murder and
Yes.
framing.
And
Yeah.
framing.
Yeah.
So I'm gone
Ooh.
I'm gone. I think my character's actually done.
Well, we'll see.
Uh,
It's a soap opera.
In
You
soaps,
never know.
yeah.
So many times
Yeah.
you think a character is dead and they swoop in out of
Yeah.
nowhere. So there's
That's
hope for
true.
you.
That's so true. But anyway, that's what I've been up to, and it sort of just came in little chunks. So it was a fun ride.
Yeah.
And
very cool.
you had a better year than a lot of people,
A lot of people, yeah.
did.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that I didn't work for so long. I spent like 2 years dry, and then a pandemic hits, and it was like, here's all of the work.
Right.
And it was like,
not
I
funny.
can't complain.
It's
yeah,
so
I can't
funny.
complain.
Life works like that sometimes.
Mm.
It's nuts.
So
Well, congrats to both
Yeah,
of you.
congratulations.
thank you.
You're both
Thank you.
being amazing creatives and still thriving in the midst of it all. So well
the
done.
midst of
Trying.
this madness.
Well, I have to say about Steven, he's selling himself short, but this dude created a pilot and has like also then
I didn't
like
know
he's
that.
finished one. Oh yeah,
Wow.
he finished a pilot and now he's working on like 2 other shows. He's a very talented writer.
Okay. NBD. That's
Look at
awesome.
rolling his eyes.
I will say this: check out Gene Domatori if you haven't. I'll plug
Oh.
that the whole time. Gene Domatori, Animal Agent.
Oh, I
Just-
love Gene, Animal Agent.
Gene Domatori. More things to come for Gene Domatori. He filmed a whole bunch of stuff, and
Okay.
if you like animals
Oh.
and you like mental patients, I'm your guy. So perfect.
Yes. that is
I
what
think I've
enjoy.
reposted a couple of them, but I'm happy to
You have.
repost
Thank you.
every
Thank
single
you.
one of them
You should
over
put them
and over.
in like our Facebook group because I think our
sure.
listeners would really enjoy.
Yeah.
I love
well,
you. Thank you, guys.
Today we're talking about crack demons, and we're kind of handing it over to Steve and Maria. They've prepared everything. We just get to kick our feet up and listen to stories.
Let's do it.
Who's
your
going
go,
first?
baby.
Yeah,
You want me to go
Ooh.
first?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
take it away.
yeah,
Awesome.
please.
So, I have a obsession when it comes to the paranormal or the supernatural, and that's cryptids. I really
Yep.
love cryptids, and I know when I was on last, we got into some cryptids of New York and stuff.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I was going to do cryptids again, and I had a whole game plan. I knew what I was going to go. I've been doing a lot of studying of the Native American culture and their kind of lore and cryptids. But while I was doing that, I found a new cryptid I'd never heard about. And it was very exciting for me because anytime I find a cryptid for a place that I frequent or I've been to or spend time, it's like, whoa, man, did I ever see it when I was there? You know?
Yeah.
So I love the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Maria and I spend time up there. We love hiking and camping, everything to do with the Sierras. I'm obsessed. One day I will live up there in a shack and I will make soap and whittle, and it'll be the best life ever. But until then,
Perfect.
I'm here. And I came across a Sierra cryptid, and it's not Bigfoot, and it's not the weird walkie guys. You ever see those
Fresno
weird walkie guys?
Nightcrawlers.
Yes, not
Yes.
those.
Are those the ones that look like parentheses?
They're the ones that look like
Yeah,
pants. Yeah.
Yeah, and they
Just
just
some
like
pants
walking pants.
strolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like this. Yeah, like that.
Creepy.
So I came across the Lone Pine Mountain Devil,
Okay.
similar to the crack demon, very similar.
Other
Sure.
than the crack demon.
Yes. So Lone Pine is the town right outside Mount Whitney. You guys familiar with Mount Whitney?
Yes, I've
not.
heard of it, but I've never been there.
Yeah.
Mount Whitney
same.
is the highest peak in the continental United States.
Okay.
And it's here in California. Yeah, it's 14,000,
Okay.
almost 15,000 feet. So obviously it's not Denali in Alaska, but here
Right.
it's you know, top
Tip
top
top.
dog. Tip
Okay.
top. So there's this area, there's a drive called the Whitney Portal. And supposedly this is where the Lone Pine Mountain Devil lives. It lives back there in an area called the Alabama Hills. Now, believe it or not, you guys know what the Alabama Hills are because you've seen the movie Tremors, I take it, right?
Oh yes.
Yep.
So you know those
Several
rocks they're doing the
Yeah.
pole vaulting on? That's the Alabama Hills. Those are rock formations
Alright.
that are
What?
littered. It's here in California. It's 2 hours away. It's beautiful.
Dang.
Yeah, you should
okay.
actually go.
Yeah.
I should. It's not
So
far.
no, it's not far at all. That's why I was like, oh my God, I've been up there so many times. So the Lone Pine Mountain Devil supposedly used to terrorize the whole Southwest. And it was a creature very similar to the Cynornithorhynchus. Do you know what that is? I'm going to say that again because it sounded like I was choking on something. Cynornithus. I tried to say it.
Is that a like an old dinosaur?
It is. It is the winged dinosaurs. So not like,
Oh.
not a
Okay.
pterodactyl,
Mm-hmm.
not a raptor, but you ever see like those dinosaurs that are like half lizard and they got feathers and they have beautiful plumage? What a great word.
Yes.
The plumage is just beautiful.
Yes.
So that's
plumage.
what those are. Plumage. So they say it looks like that
Okay.
with an extra set of wings, and it's about, I don't know, 5 feet tall, something like that.
Too tall.
And anything that has teeth, and teeth, that's teeth.
Oh.
You've seen these things. Just imagine a velociraptor with rings. That's what it looks
I
like.
remember. I can like sort of picture it, but I'm very excited to pull up a photo.
Yes. So supposedly there were stories back in the late 1800s, around 1878, of people in and around the Lone Pine area and in the Sierras that were mutilated by this Lone Pine Mountain Devil, or the Lone Pine Devil. And what it would do is rip all the skin off your face so that you were unrecognizable,
Classic.
and then just eat all of your soft tissue around your chest, and then be out,
Ugh.
and then peace.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And it would
What if you
only
had
do
abs?
this. If you had abs, you were in good shape. It would just go for like your earlobes and the soft cartilage.
Okay.
So
All
if
right,
you
good
were
to know.
ripped, you were shredded,
It's a
better
better
chance, okay?
reason to stay fit,
Yeah.
guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's stories of this mountain devil in the late 1870s, killing miners, killing stagecoach travelers. There's an infamous story of these early settlers, right? And they were taking like a caboose thing. What are they called? The wagons. You know what
Yeah.
I'm talking
Covered
about, right?
wagon.
A wagon.
Yeah, all that
A
shit.
wagon.
A wagon.
So they were, it was
That is
covered
the
wagon.
name.
Stagecoach. That's what
Stagecoach, okay.
train. And they were Spanish settlers, and they were trying to get to San Diego through the Sierras. And there was like 40 of them. And they never showed up to San Diego. But one day, this like priest who was all like tattered, and they said he was the priest with them, and all he had was like a book, and he was all like, he's Spanish, so he's probably, you know, like, por favor, por favor. And they're like, Father, what was his name? He had a cool name, like Father Jezidua. Anyways, Father bullshit. I can't find it.
Father Bullshit.
So,
I've heard of him.
We all know old Father Bullshit.
a lot of bullshit, that guy. A lot of bullshit.
I've told a few confessions to Father Bullshit.
I know. Father Martinez, that was his name. Not close to bullshit.
No.
And they were like, what happened? What happened? He was like, oh, there was an orgy. We were celebrating St. Roderick Day, and an orgy erupted.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, the demons came out, and they started attacking and ripping these people to shreds and taking them down to hell, and everybody disappeared, and I survived. And he was quoted, my God, they are all gone. The winged demons have risen. What sin have they committed against each other? That and thy sacred earth made the forgiving Lord not abandon their souls, which were taken from them into the depths of hell. And through the earthly fires of man, a soul tree remained on the mountain's peak. And the devils that spare me return to the refuge of the lone pine of the mountain. That's what this guy said.
I have a question. Wait, I have a question for you, Steve.
Yeah.
When you said orgy, like, does he mean like a gaggle of people or like a sexual orgy?
It says the celebration, according to the pious father, turned into a riotous orgy. There's quotes. So like, I don't know any orgies where people aren't fucking. So I'm sure that like that's what it was, which is surprising. Like that takes balls to begin with. You got a priest over here, and like, oh, don't worry about him. Let's just fucking have this orgy. Hey, Father, go chill in the tent. Like that's ballsy. So they probably they were deserved to get ripped to shreds by these things.
Right. When the spirit envelops you,
yeah,
you gotta go with it.
Seriously. So that was in 1878. Now the next sightings, like legit sightings, weren't actually until 2003. So it spanned this. I know that's a long time, and it was a story of this guy who lived by Yosemite on the Eastern Sierras. And he went out one night to smoke a cigarette, and he said he heard what he could only say was the sound of a demon yelling. And he looked up, and there was,
and it was
this
his mom.
It was his mom.
And it was his mother. That's not part of the story. It was interesting.
Yeah, like, shut up, demon mom. So he turned and he looked, and he said he didn't think twice. He saw a huge bird, what he thought was a bird, on top of his neighbor's house, that he said looked like an ostrich. And he went, wait, that's not, and it jumped and flew to the tip of another tree, and it was so heavy it almost weighed the tree down, and it stayed staring at him. And then he said, wait, that's not an ostrich, because one, ostriches don't fly, and they don't
usually
chill
do that
in the Sierras.
Yeah,
and then he said it
chilling at Yosemite.
Seriously. And he said it had double knees, you know, but it had these huge wings and a face with teeth and these big demon eyes. And he got on his bike, he said, to try to like ride away, and it started following him, jumping from tree to tree, yelling. He said he rode like, you know, the Dickens. I don't even know what that means. What does it mean to run or ride like the Dickens?
I don't know.
What the fuck does that mean?
That's actually a good
I've
question.
used many times before, and I have never looked into.
Well, because isn't there "scared the Dickens out of him," which is probably
I think so. Yeah, you can kind of say Dickens for many things,
right?
That's why we come to you guys for questions like this. This is great.
I also have a question too. Why do people always say let's get the fuck out of Dodge? Like, what is Dodge like? I'd love to explore the
Dodge
city.
is bad.
Yeah, what is Dodge?
That's where
what does Dodge have in store?
That's a good question. I feel like we could have a whole episode on idioms and phrases and like where the hell they came from.
Opener,
maybe you can
have, got it.
You can have your listeners send in stories of like what they feel like Dodge would be, and maybe you can read the best ones.
Yeah,
like
no cheating.
Now.
Don't. You get a producer credit for that episode for sure.
Nice,
join the team.
But you were saying,
so
okay.
Well, so he ran like the Dickens and got the fuck out of Dodge, and he said he moved 1,000 miles away because he never wanted to deal with it again. And then there was other little stories like, oh my God, I saw a bird thing like that once, and I saw a thing like that once. So I think the reason I like cryptids, so this is what I'm going to get into. I I try to first, I'm sure we all do, we try to logically dissect, like, okay, what is
Yeah.
this? What are people doing? You know what I mean? Are people fucking high? Or are they smoking friggin' peyote? What's going on? So in 1879, I know a lot about that era. I'll get that. That's a whole nother podcast. But there was a lot of the gold rush was going on up there. And
Yeah.
if you found a claim, you didn't want people to go up and start, hacking away at your claim.
Right.
So you probably had to say, one, they would say like, hey, be careful, the natives are up in there. And that was the truth. And that's why the Mariposa battalions were created, to wipe out the natives, which is very horrible and sad.
Yeah.
But also, you'd probably say, hey, don't go up there. There's this winged demon creature. It's going to bite your dick off, and then it's going to take all your gold, and you're like, oh, I need those two things. So people wouldn't go up. And then, you don't want to get your face ripped off. And then, so I think back then, it was just people just kind of like trying to keep people out of their claims. Even though there's a lot of other stories about the Whitney Portal and ghosts and all that, because it was a big crossing for people back in the day, the Whitney Portal.
Okay.
Wait, what was the Whitney Portal? Is it an actual portal or like a pathway?
It's a pathway. So what it is if you were to cross over Mount Whitney and just go straight over, you come out right where Sequoia National Park is, and then you're a straight shot to San Francisco. So that's why they would go that way. And it was easier to traverse than most of the other Sierras, because if you drive along the Sierra Nevadas, the southern part, the cliffs literally rise straight out of the Death Valley, and they're almost impenetrable. So that was kind of a little break south. The next one would be the Tioga Pass, but that was so far north. Back in the day, you're on a horse. It's not a 2-hour drive. It's like, a 4-day burro
excursion.
ride. Who the
Yeah.
fuck wants to do that shit? So you take your chances with the winged demons. So
Worth
so
it.
now, so 2003, now I'm just reading, hey, this is like the internet and people just getting excited about telling the story that people created back from 1879.
Mm-hmm.
But then you start to think, right? You go, wait, were one of these Sigornothopithecuses around? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was
Say that one again?
the Santa Mortopithecus.
I'm just gonna take the audio from earlier in the episode and just like
Splice
plug
it
it.
in.
Like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sinornithorsis. That's
That sounds
awful.
right.
Never mind.
Legally
How about
good.
this? They also call them microraptors. That sounds
That's
better.
so much better.
You should have been
Yeah,
saying
so-
this all along.
I tried to get
What?
technical with it. So listen, we always hear stories about like, hey, it's a plesiosaur. It might be a plesiosaur that's stuck in this lake, or it
Mhm.
might be an old ancient mosasaur. It could be.
Right.
Go ahead.
I have
Yes,
a
Callie.
question. Please tell me what a plesiosaurus is.
Loch Ness.
Or a plesiosaur.
Yeah,
Oh,
they think that's what
Yeah,
Loch Ness.
just
Wow.
Yeah.
think of old Nessie.
Oh.
4 fins, long neck, big mouth.
Yeah.
Detail.
I just
Fish.
didn't know that was its
plesiosaur.
formal name. His birth name. Yeah.
Yeah.
His birth name, yes. That's his. Yes, that's his confirmation.
Excuse
name,
me.
plesiosaur, yeah.
My
His
birth name is
confirmation name.
His confirmation name, plesiosaur.
The
So,
confirmation name
confirmation.
just killed me.
Yeah,
That is so good.
so that's his. Anyways. So
Oh.
maybe listen, the Sierras, they're pretty. I mean, there's a lot of people hiking and doing shit up there, but you could hide up in there. You know what I mean?
Totally.
What if one of these microraptors? It's a bird, so I mean, from a distance, you go, oh, look at that big bird. What is that, an eagle or a flying ostrich? Another question.
I have a question for you, Stephen, actually. Have you found in your research that the majority of these cryptids live in these areas, or are you finding them kind of like, barring the world, like the rest of the world, because there's like crazy shit up in the Himalayas. I don't know that for a fact. Please fact check me on that.
The
but
Yeti,
I'm sure there
the
is.
Yeti. Yeah,
The Yeti. But like, are you finding that a lot of them are in the Sierras, or are you seeing some in like New York, or I don't know, whatever?
They're mostly in sparsely populated areas where old Jeb goes for a hike and he's been drinking a little bit of the moonshine and something scares the dickens out of him, and he goes, "There's a creature in the woods trying to eat my toes. It's the toe demon." Everything's going to be a crop demon, a toe demon today.
Yes.
So yes,
Oh.
yes, they usually are in very vast wilderness areas, things like that, because
But are
there's
you
more
seeing them
hiding.
out here on the west or more like on the east? Like, are you
The
like,
only other, there's only other in the Sierras, and there's 3 other cryptids I found in the Sierras. Now, we already mentioned these
Pants.
guys.
Pants
parentheses.
walking.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Pair
then
of
there's
jeans walking.
the Tahoe Tessie, which is similar to
Oh.
the Loch Ness Nessie.
Okay.
So
Oh.
the Tahoe Tessie in Lake Tahoe is an extremely deep lake, and it's always cold. Jacques Cousteau is said to have dived a submersible down there. When he came up, they said, "What did you see?" And he went, "The world is not ready to know what I saw." So,
That's pretty
so
good.
they did some research.
That's a really good
Thank you.
impression.
Thank you.
The
But they weren't sure if he saw Tessie or all the dead bodies, because the mafia used to dump the bodies
Yeah.
down at the bottom of Tahoe, and they
Maybe
think
he
a
saw
bunch of dead
both.
bodies.
Both.
Maybe.
Tessie
But then
was
they also-
swimming over the dead bodies, and
Yeah,
he didn't
well,
know what to do.
I did this.
or maybe the
Like
dead
that.
bodies linked together and we're like, yeah,
Like
no,
like
never mind.
the human
They
centipede.
formed a new creature.
They just formed a new creature and they were like,
Hey,
here
looks
we
like
are.
you're here now.
Yeah. Oh
Well,
my. That's
So
creepy.
they did.
Did you guys watch Hellier,
Oh,
the
yeah.
documentary about
is
Hellier,
it?
Kentucky? Well, Stephen, you would love it. Well, actually, you both would. I don't know why I just singled you out, but it's about
It doesn't sound like my cup of tea.
Hellier, as in Hellier, Kentucky, because there was this famous case of basically gremlins in Hellier, Kentucky. Yeah, and
Yes,
so
I
basically
did.
they go, yeah, to research, like to try and find like evidence of these gremlins, and they start realizing that like, oh, there actually might just be like a portal here. And then
Yeah.
they start looking at like the map of the United States, and they realize that all of these like cryptid sightings happen near cave openings or like places with a lot of caves,
Right.
which, you know,
That's where I would
Americans
be.
have. Yeah,
I'd be hiding in a cave for sure.
why not?
I
Yeah, if I was a
can't get
cryptid.
into it. I
I
can't
can't
get into it.
into it. How
But
much
a
You can
time?
pilot
see
I
the
wrote-
wheels are turning.
I wrote a pilot, and it has to do a lot with what you're talking about. And
So excited.
yep. And they do believe that these cave systems, some of them do. The Native Americans did believe in portals to the afterlife or
Yeah.
to another realm. Let's first say that. And that a lot of their beings, the native cryptids, would come through these portals whenever they were like, yo, we got to fucking check these guys. They're doing some shit. So,
Yeah.
and that's been around, I mean, like there's cave drawings of this stuff, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Maybe not portals, but that's of cryptids and things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is something, and these interdimensional beings, a la the mist, come through and are like, I'm a gremlin, and you're like, yeah.
Get
are
back
You
in
know
your
what would be a
caves.
good idea? Wouldn't it be a really cool script to do like one of these like vigilante interdimensional beings who are like, we gotta keep Earth in order, and they just come through
Yes.
these portals, and it's just like a little series about maybe animated. I don't
Oh,
know.
I
We'll
was
figure
I was
this out later.
immediately thinking of like a Monsters Inc. / also Seth
Yeah.
Rogen has a new there's a DreamWorks animated movie coming out starring Seth Rogen and I think Melissa McCarthy, and it's
Mhm.
called Boo, and they're ghosts, I think, or I don't remember, but like they're like a team of paranormal investigators, but they're on the opposite side. I think they are the ghosts. Anyways, it sounds really wonderful. You should check it out.
Ooh,
But that's
That
immediately
sounds
what I was
adorable and perfect.
I
thinking.
love it. And
But
I'm
yeah,
going to start writing this new pilot, and I'm going to entitle it Crack Demon.
Crack
Crack
Demon.
Demon for sure needs to be
Crack
the name.
Demon Inc.
Crack Demon.
Crack Demon Inc.
But yeah, so Bigfoot is one of those supposed, you know, everyone always says like, oh, if Bigfoot exists, like, why haven't we found evidence of it? It's like, first of all, we kind of have. Second of
Right.
all, I mean, who's to say that it's like a physical creature that we know, like that bleeds blood? Like, we don't know.
Mhm. I
Right?
agree.
Especially
We don't know
True.
shit.
we talked about this recently, the Hunters, missing 411 Hunters documentary, where that woman got a
Mhm. So
picture of
good.
that thing and it's like invisible. It's like, how do we know
Mhm.
they can't go invisible?
Right.
Yeah.
We
We
just
don't know
don't know
anything.
anything. Like everybody has this idea in their mind of what Bigfoot is, but truly we don't know exactly what Bigfoot is. And he may have talents and powers that we don't understand. And
Yeah.
He could be running
out there.
Universal Studios for all we know. You know what I mean?
No clue. What if he's a
Exactly.
shapeshifter and he can
No.
become an executive at any time and go back into the woods?
That's it.
He's a big wig at Paramount, guys.
That's what I'm saying.
My AirPods, by the way, lied. I checked them; they were 91%. So then I thought,
Oh.
oh, maybe it's my phone, and my phone's at 60. So I don't know where that 20% thing came up.
It was a
Well-
glitch in the Maria.
God.
Remember the episode?
Do you guys remember?
That was the episode.
Remember?
Okay,
Yeah.
so we left off. We were talking about whether or not
demons.
crack demons for sure.
Crack demons for sure.
Were we still talking about the
We were talking about
Microraptor?
portals.
We were talking about portals, missing
Yes.
411,
Mhm.
Sierras,
Gremlins.
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 We were
Yeah,
talking
wherever
about
you think
people
we should
passing
pick it
through
up.
the portal.
Yeah. Well, Stephen, did you have more note wise?
I just a couple little, nothing crazy, just like
Go for it.
you know, again, the mountain devils. Nobody needs to fear unless you decide to go and mess with nature. They only attack people who are disturbing nature.
Ah.
So that's what, like, if you went up there camping and you were doing everything nice and you were doing like, thank you, nature, and like, made a nice fire and brought everything out, no garbage, they're not going to mess with you. But if you go up there and you start having orgies like these people and lighting shit on fire and
Yeah.
in front of priests,
There's going to be a
those
problem.
demons, they're going to eat your fucking
Crack-
face. Okay.
Crack demons
So-
don't have time for orgies.
Yeah. But no, I mean, that's just about it when it comes to the Lone Pine Mountain Devil. I obviously could sit here and talk about cryptids forever, but I'd really love to hear what my beautiful wife has to say.
Maria.
Maria.
Guys, I've gone down a rabbit hole.
I know.
Do you guys know what the Dybbuk is?
I know,
Yes.
a little.
What do you know, Lauren? Tell me what you know.
No, I don't want to take any of this away from you because I don't think any of our listeners know anything about the Dybbuk, and I think you just go forth with the education.
All I
I'm just
know
gonna go for it.
is that Jewish, and there are boxes that you can get
Yes.
online, Dybbuk boxes that supposedly have Dybbuks in them, which is like, who?
I thought you were
And-
just going to leave it at Jewish and boxes.
Jewish
and then just
boxes.
All I knew about it was a quote from one of our favorite movies, Waiting
Yes.
for Guffman, which
Oh
goes,
my
For it
Terry,
all
gosh.
day.
you say it.
Dybbuk schmibbik. I said more ham.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yep.
I've been saying
Dybbuk
it all
schmibbik.
day.
Yeah.
I'm like cleaning. I'm like Dybbuk schmibbik. I said more ham, and then I
The
do it
great
in different
Eugene
voices.
Levy. Yep.
No, and I
So-
feel like that's kind of the summary. If anyone has heard of these, that's kind of what they know is like cursed box. Like that's
Question
kind of,
Yeah. But
Well, it's
I'm
funny because
excited to
they-
learn more.
yeah,
They
I
made
don't
a
know a
movie-
lot.
They made a movie in 2012 about this box. It's like, but it was like something. I mean, I didn't see the movie, but I'm gathering it might have been something like Annabelle, where it was like, oh, Annabelle was really this, and then this. I have to do more research on that. But it's funny that you say about you can buy Dybbuk boxes online, because when in my research, there's only 10 in the world apparently.
Whoa.
And
Okay.
Wait, really?
yeah, like there's 10 Dybbuk boxes with Dybbuks in them. And for the listeners out there, so a Dybbuk is this malevolent spirit or a demon, but it usually attaches itself to a soul. So there were a couple of things. There's one where it's a malevolent spirit that will attach itself to a human soul,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, or a demon that attaches itself to a human soul. And the human soul is usually one that's like, oh, I've got unfinished business, I've got unresolved stuff. And so the demon's like, okay, check it. I'll get you in a bottle, in a body, in a bottle.
So I'll get you in that
genie
bottle.
in a
Yeah.
bottle.
What if Christina Aguilera was a Dybbuk? She's like, I'm out.
I'm a
So-
Dybbuk in a bottle.
That's actually a really funny parody. But where did I leave off? I forgot now. I'm already, like,
It could attach to a human
Oh.
spirit.
So it attaches itself. So yeah, so it's like a human spirit that's, you know, recently deceased, and the demon's like, okay, so I'm gonna put you in a body, and then I'll get to like possess that body. So like the soul gets rest, and then the demon gets to like, you know, possess and shit. But anyway, but either way, it's a bad thing. So
what? I just have a quick
yes,
question.
please,
What was the
please.
movie that came out in 2012? Was it just called Dybbuk, or what was it called?
The
It was
Possession
called The Possession.
Oh
with
yeah.
Jeffrey
yeah.
Dean Morgan.
Yes.
That's why I
Dean
was
Morgan.
asking. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
I've seen that,
It-
but I didn't
Alright.
remember it being about a Dybbuk. I do remember, well,
Yeah,
maybe.
same.
Yeah, because they get a box
Well-
at a like garage sale or something. Go on.
Yeah, so it is. So it's very similar. So I came across this story because I've been obsessed with a show that I found on Prime, but it's a History Channel show called Haunted History. But what they do, and usually I don't watch them because, you know, from now on, like you want the real stuff. It's like I want to watch a real documentary. I don't want to watch, you know, like let's find the, you know, crack demon, and then they never find it. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Right.
I just want to say something. She watches these shows all the time, and I don't even need to know what she's watching, and it's not because of what they're talking about. There is a sound effect in every single one of these shows. The squeaky gate.
Yeah.
Every single show has the squeaky. It's always like, and then the guy's like, she realized that the Jello had molded.
It's like, today we're visiting the Crowley house. And it's like, all right, well.
Yeah, no,
Squeaky
it's so
gate.
true.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
So anyway, so the show it's really cool because it takes haunted things or possessed things or just paranormal stuff, but it does a really great job of weaving history into it. So this episode was about this wine box that was possessed. And so I found out that there's this box. So the story goes as this. Let me see. I got my notes here. I'm going to go refer to notes. This is where we refer to notes. So there was this dude named Kevin Manis, right? And he owned this like antique refurnishing shop in Portland, Oregon. And he had purchased this wine box at like an estate sale. This woman, she was 103 years old. She's a survivor of the Holocaust. She had died. And so he purchased this box, right? So he kept it in his basement for a hot minute. And there were some stories of like of an employee and it being, you know, whatever, haunted shit happened. But the main story that I'm trying to get here is about how this thing, it's almost like it's got its own like long drawn out story where it chooses people. So he has this box for a while and he's like, you know what, I'm going to fix it up and I'm going to give it to my mom for her birthday. So he fixes it up and he happens to give it to his mom on Halloween. Her birthday was on the 28th, but she was on a trip. So when she came back, he was like, here's this box. And so he like stepped away for what, I don't know what it said, was like 5 minutes. And then somebody comes running back to him and goes, dude. Well, they didn't say dude. I'm saying dude. But he's like, dude.
You don't know that.
I don't know.
Something's up with your mom. And he goes back and his mom is kind of like in this sort of catatonic state or what have you, but she's just not moving. They rush her to the hospital.
Yikes.
And she had some sort of like paralysis thing. Something happened. This was like when I was trying to write out the word paralysis, but something happened. She like was paralyzed. And she wrote on a piece of paper, no, like she wrote it in this weird way, like no box, like I don't want this box. So people who have possessed this box, whoever this box has been like passed down to, have experienced a lot of similar things. But I'll go along with this story. So he has this box for a while. So now he's like, look, I'm going to get rid of it. So he gets rid of it. He puts it up on eBay, and this college student purchases it. And so he starts experiencing weird things. He has weird dreams. And then he's like, this thing has got to go. Because what college student has time for that, right?
Yeah.
So then
I have
right,
exams.
I didn't. Exactly. I don't need demons. So he sells it, and this dude, this other guy, what was his name? Hold on, I gotta get his name here. His name is Jason. Well, we'll come back to it. Oh,
Father
Jason Haxton.
Martinez.
Father bullshit.
Father bullshit.
Other bullshit's
So-
back, baby.
Or it would
So
be
this
rabbi
guy-
bullshit, I guess.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get it right, guys.
So this guy, Jason Haxton, then acquires the box, right? And he starts having weird things happen to him. So the stuff that's happening to him has happened to the previous owners as well. One of them being these very weird dreams where they encounter this demon face that morphs from having a face to then having its skin just like ripped off and then eyes gouged out. And it was really like just, yeah, like super demonic. So he had that. He had a lot of like physical ailments and anxieties. Yes,
You have a
Stephen,
question?
please.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we know what the Dybbuk looks like? Since you're talking about like, is there any kind of like, does it take on a form of sorts?
Ooh, this is a
They
good question.
both rip faces off, which is interesting.
Yep.
Yes.
That's the
That through line.
crossover.
Yep.
So in my research, the dreams in which people have seen the same thing, they've seen this demon thing that I've described to you. I was also researching on another website, and they had said that in like Jewish mysticism, that it might take the form of like a black dog or a cat or something. It sounds like it can take other forms, but I'm not clear on that. So I don't know.
Because I read like a hag. It looks like a real hag.
Yes.
Like a witch.
That's the thing that these people have. That's the image of the person that these people have had.
That's the common thread then.
Yes.
Okay.
And all of them experience weird supernatural stuff, anxiety, health problems, all like basically COVID-19 is the fucking Dybbuk. So it's like, so it was crazy, right? So anyway, so this dude, he becomes obsessed with it, right? Because he's like, I gotta know what the hell this box is. So he does more research. He contacts the original, who he thought was the original owner of it, this guy Kevin Manis, and he's like, dude, you got to help me out here. Can you help me out? And the guys, and like, it was funny because in the interview, the guy was like, okay. I'm like, you have a responsibility to this man to help him out.
You passed this along.
Yeah.
And he knew about all the things. He just thought it was like in his head. I'm like, no. So anyway, so this guy, Kevin Manis, goes back to where he bought the box. And he opens up this woman opens up the door, and it happens to be a woman that he went to high school with or school with or something like that. And it was her grandmother's box. It was her name was Havala, the woman who passed away at 103 and was the original owner of this box. But this woman was in this house. I don't know if she lived there, but she also had an older lady that was there with her, which I think was her grandmother's cousin, which would be like her second aunt or whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to do the whole genealogy, but anyway, she was there. And her name was, I believe, Sophia. I can't remember, but I have to look. But anyway, so he goes in there and he says, yo, this box, it's crazy. Like, can you tell me more about it? And he says, so this woman comes out of nowhere. The older woman, Sophia, I believe is her name. So she comes out and she says, it chooses. It can choose. It chose you. And he was like, what are you talking about? And she goes on to explain how this box came to be. So in 1938, in Poland, these women, they were cousins, and they were, this was sort of right as World War II was starting to kind of kickstart, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they had taken up this pastime, and at the time it was all the rage to sort of do seances and Ouija boards. So they made their own little Ouija board, used a pendulum and whatnot. And speaking of portals, they were talking about you open up portals to another dimension. So they opened up this portal and they encountered this like spirit. And the spirit kept on telling them like, yo, you should let me like cross over or whatever. And I don't know what came over these women, but they decided, okay. And so the spirit had crossed over, but it was so malevolent and it was so bad. It was so like demonic. They were like, we got to contain this. Yeah. So this is what's really fascinating. They attempted to trap this Dybbuk into that wine box on December 10th, 1938, which is the same night that they call Kristallnacht, which is a night of broken glass. And it's a night where thousands of synagogues were destroyed, and about 30,000 Jewish men were arrested and then sent to concentration camps. Wow. So basically it's credited as being the turning point where anti-Semitic policies were turned into like widespread violence.
Yeah.
And this woman, now flash back to like her telling of the story, she says, I feel like that what she thinks it was correlated and responsible for it. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, all right, let me dig deeper. And I was like, maybe not. Sophie, that was her name. So anyway.
You were so close.
I was so close, Sophie. So then so then what happened was is they never got to trap the Dybbuk into the box. So the Dybbuk was roaming. It's like, you know, like roaming around for years after the war. So she
just everywhere.
Around the world.
Just imagine the Dybbuk just like in a
Shimmying to that song.
just pointing at things. Yeah.
right.
I just
Sorry,
imagine
sorry.
like a montage of like Paris,
Yeah.
Vegas.
like the
Dybbuk,
Hollywood
Dybbuk's
sign
on the
from
town
Sky,
with
yeah,
a scarf.
Yeah.
It's really
A
nice. Really nice
latte,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, scarf and a
Perfect.
latte.
So this Dybbuk basically was so they attempted to trap it on December 10th. They were not successful. And she wasn't actually able to trap it until a couple years after World War II. So she
Wow.
felt like it was responsible in some way for the Holocaust and all the madness that happened, right? So now we're going to go back to this whole thing where she says it can choose, it chooses. So this Dybbuk box is really interesting because it seems to like almost write its own story, weave like a story. So it's not like people like haphazardly just like, oh, I just got this box and I don't know what to do with it. It just kind of like has a path. So this box from Kevin had been sold and auctioned to a few people. And then this guy, Jason, finds out that there's a connection to the box and his hometown. This is the guy who has it now. This is the guy that it was passed down from Kevin Manis through the college kid now to Jason. So he finds that there's a connection between this box and his hometown in Missouri. So he looks into it a little bit more, and this I'm gonna read. So it says he realizes there might be a link to the Dybbuk box to his hometown in Kirksville, Missouri. So he found this connection with Harry Hamilton Laughlin. I don't know if anybody knows who Harry Laughlin is, but he's basically one of the, he was a very big activist for the eugenics movement, which, you know, for the listeners out there who aren't too familiar about what eugenics is, it's basically using science to weed out what they say breed, quote unquote, breed out the bad and breed in the good. Yeah. And it was basically the foundation of what Hitler used for the Holocaust.
Being Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For
Did you
being
know
Hitler.
Charles Lindbergh was a eugenicist?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because that's one of the theories that he actually was responsible for getting rid of his baby, because the baby that was found, the body of the child that was found, had several deformities. And if that was true, if the baby really was deformed in some way or had some sort of disfigurement, it would have been sort of like embarrassing for him.
Yeah.
So,
he couldn't
and
be
like
on board with a disabled child.
Yeah, and the baby was missing like certain key organs, and not like eaten out of, like it was like specific organs were gone and some were still there. So
yeah,
they believe that he might have gotten rid of his own baby.
Ugh.
Wait a minute. That's like get rid of, like he disposed of the baby without anybody knowing.
Yeah, like he killed it. Yeah. Well, there's two theories. One is that he like straight up was like, I don't want this kid. It's deformed. I mean, you know, I like white, blonde, strong people. And he killed the baby. Or he had basically paid someone to kidnap the baby, but really they were transporting it away so that it was like out of his life, and then something happened in transit and the baby died. But people are pretty sure
both theories point to that he's the worst.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about the eugenics movement is it actually started in the United States, and then a lot of German scientists cited Harry Laughlin when they were doing their studies in Germany. And then it's interesting because Harry Laughlin, I've also found out he was involved in the notion of forced sterilization in America, which is really crazy. And also, side note, just speaking about,
geez.
I auditioned for a movie that was about a doctor who was sterilizing Hispanic women so they would stop breeding.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, yeah, I mean that's what they're saying
that's
might
what they're
be
doing
happening
at the border.
At the border, that women are getting agreeing to and signing forms that they consent to like hysterectomies and shit, but they don't know what they're signing because there's no
Right,
one
they
there
don't understand it.
translating.
Yes, but anyway, so this dude, so this guy Jason finds this connection, right? He's like, whoa, this is weird, this is my hometown, maybe this is why I have it. He felt that the box was like, the Dybbuk was trying to like lead it and tell its story, right? So then he called a medium in to sort of touch the box and give her readings, and so she was able to pick up on the ailments that he had experienced. But then she also picked up on another man, and his ailments was something like tight chest or chest pains, and then something with the head. And so the owner of the box, Jason, had confirmed that Henry suffered from epilepsy and died of a massive heart attack.
Oh,
So
shit.
I think they were picking up. I don't know how the box itself ties into him in that way. Like maybe the spirit was influencing him. I don't know.
Right.
So it was really interesting. But now here's the cool part about it. So this guy Jason's like, all right, I have to contain this shit. What do I do? Right. So after like consulting a lot of religious leaders, he came up with basically putting it in an ark, like the Ark of the Covenant. Oh. And he had to build it specifically. So this ark was made of 1.25 inches of acacia wood, it's called.
Okay.
And then on the inside of this, so acacia wood is supposed to be this very strong, powerful wood that holds a lot of power. And that coupled with what he lined the inside of it, which was 24 karat gold, which he said represented, I believe, immutability and perfection. Oh. It helps contain it. So he built this ark and contained it and put it in there, and then like had it, I guess. And then I started to Google to see like who has this box.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah.
So, well, I tell you what, it ain't in that ark.
Oh no!
Because when I saw
so
it,
it's
it was
escaped.
in a glass case. It's in a freaking glass case. So the last person that I could find that had it in 2018, I think he still has it now. You guys might know the name just in your field, but Zach Baggins.
Oh,
he has you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Maria. Yes.
Okay.
Who's
So
Zach
he has
Baggins?
So check it.
Ghost
There's more, let me tell
Adventures.
you.
He's from Ghost Adventures. He's kind of special.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know nothing about the dude, but he himself has this box. At least he did in 2018. I don't know if he currently still has it now.
He probably does. He probably has it at his Las Vegas museum. Yeah.
That's exactly
that makes
right.
sense. I thought he was just chilling with it next to his bed. I was like, who gave it to this guy?
Why don't they throw that shit in a volcano or something?
Right?
Why do people hold on to it?
Why?
What do you mean why?
You'll release it.
You have
just
to contain it.
Like take like a priest and a rabbi up there, put them in the tinfoil suits, and be like, and have them do the priest go something in Latin, like Spiria tutu Maria Tatiria, and then have the rabbi just, shalom it, and then just chuck that fucker into the lava. Why not do that?
Just for the record, that wasn't Latin, just for anybody who's like learning Latin and was looking to you for help. That was not Latin.
They're like flipping through their book, like, wait a minute.
Yeah, like what was Speedy
I
at the
didn't learn this?
No, I guess this dude Zach has it in his haunted museum in Vegas. And when I saw the pictures, because he also has that show Ghost Adventures Quarantine, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, I saw it was in this glass case, and he was like, I'm gonna open it and whatever. I'm like, I don't even know why y'all are fucking with this shit. Like, please put it back in its ark and send it off and put it away. But so this is interesting trivia. So apparently Post Malone went to that museum.
Okay.
I believe it.
And in 2018, and then experienced a series of unfortunate events. Not his tattoos on his face, but like one, it was like
already had the tattoos.
He's already had the tattoo, so that already had happened. So it was like one after another. One, it was like a plane crash. Two tires blew out on the runway on his private jet. Then right after that, he one of like his old house or something was broken into at gunpoint. Whoa. And then a few weeks later, he was in a car crash and collided with another car. He's obviously okay because it's 2020. Post Malone is still here. But so wait, there was something else. So there was this video that was leaked on TMZ of Post Malone. They were like, was he cursed by it? But it was just a video of like Zach touching the box and then Post Malone touching his shoulder, so it like passed through joints and shit. So like the Dybbuk can pass through your joints is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
It's like
So
don't
it's
go
like
anywhere near
arthritis.
it.
Yeah. It's like electricity.
He's showing up as arthritis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you didn't answer my question. Why can't you just throw it into a volcano or like the Mariana Trench or blast it out into space?
Because first of all, anybody who has it, it causes so much havoc in your life. Like I doubt that they'll even get to the freaking Mariana Trench. Like your boat will just like, I don't know, get consumed by a whirlpool. And if you even could make it up to like a volcano, it'd probably throw you in it. So I wouldn't even go anywhere near it.
So if you're trying to transport it, it's probably gonna like try and kill you a million times before you get anywhere. Basically.
Okay, that's it.
I mean, that's my
Well, and
assumption.
also I was thinking. I was
believe
thinking like basically the box is what holds this thing in. So if you threw it into a volcano, the box would get destroyed, but the demon would just shoot right out. Or like, if
and
you
then it
threw
would be,
it,
run if you want to.
again.
Right.
And the thing is that they're saying it, and you guys know in just like your studies of spirits and demons and stuff like that, the box itself holds it, but the energy isn't contained. The energy can go through anything.
Can do whatever the hell it wants.
So you actually have to put it inside some sort. I know it's like funny, like, whoa, Ark of the Covenant, but that's what the Ark of the Covenant was, where, you know, that thing was like with the wood and the gold, and it had like 2 archangels holding the 10 commandments in it.
It was so intense.
You know, it's so intense. It's been missing for a while. I think, I don't know, it got stolen in something BC when the Babylonians.
A lot of gold in there, yeah. I mean, come on.
Jeez.
But it's real. Yeah, so
that
the Dybbuk
is crazy.
Now I understand the Mezuzahs.
Okay,
No,
I'm on eBay.
Oh,
You can buy Dybbuk boxes.
are you buying a Dybbuk box right now?
No.
Okay.
I was like, what are you trying to do to Joe?
I would never. I wouldn't dare. No, I just, because you can buy Dybbuk boxes, but I think they're all a scam.
I was going to say, if there's only so many in the world, now people are just trying to get
because they're all like extremely active sealed Dybbuk box, Jewish paranormal amulet, Latin spirit entity. That's the the full description.
That's a big one.
See,
that's a big one.
This makes me feel better, because this is kind of what I thought of DYBBUKS. It's so funny. I thought like maybe I had some knowledge. So that's why when you were like, Lauren, what do you know? I was like, no, take the reins, because I don't want to take away from your story. I'm probably going to like give too much detail. Silly me. I was just like, a Dybbuk is a box that's magical and demonic at the same time. I had
like the brave little toaster, but like a box that comes up like
Maria, you just like schooled me on every level. I clearly had no freaking clue what a Dybbuk was, because I was more on Ashley's page of like, can't you just buy them anywhere and it like might do something bad to you?
Well, they range from about $40 to $90 with about $8 to $10 shipping. So
that's way too cheap.
It's too cheap to get a interdimensional demon.
What would you pay?
So Dybbuk is the demon, and the box is, I guess, what it could. The Dybbuk box is a famous box, though. This wine box is like a famous
that's
one.
like the box.
So
the one that people know about.
Dybbuk was the Dybbuk a thing before the wine box? Like, was it is it like in the Jewish Bible or?
Yeah, it's ancient. I don't know if it's in the Jewish Bible. I haven't done research on that, but it's super, super ancient. Like,
okay.
Wow.
I mean, I would assume it's super ancient. It's funny because there's a story in the Old Testament. I believe it's like 2 Samuel or 1 Samuel. I don't know, where Solomon, went to a witch and was like, "Yo, open up a portal. I want to talk to I want to talk to this prophet," and she did. So I even in and like we talked earlier too about how Ashley last week about the story in the New Testament where there's this guy who was afflicted with spirits. So it's very interesting that you're asking this, because back in the days, in the biblical days, people thought, before we had a good understanding about mental health, people thought that you were possessed by a demon. And you may very well have been. And in the Bible, there's a story where this man had like sort of lived in the graveyards, and he was afflicted by this demon, and he was always doing all this like damage to himself. And this demon came up to Jesus, you know, inside the guy, and was like, "What are you doing here, son of God? It's not your time yet." And he had cast the demon out into a herd of pigs, and the pigs then killed themselves. So they're, you know, demons, and I would assume the Dybbuk is an ancient thing.
Yeah.
Like demons
saw-
and spirits are ancient.
I saw paintings of Dybbuk's that were from like, you know, medieval times and stuff like that. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if that was like something that got sort of not created, but given a name in the 1930s, or if it was like,
or if it goes way, way back.
Yeah, had a name.
In my research, I think I kind of gathered that Dybbuk was the name of a spirit. Like,
Okay.
I don't think that it's the name of like a specific demon.
Right.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like there's demons that have specific names, I believe. I don't know, but it kind of came off as like it was just this spirit.
I was saying that so I'm on TikTok a lot, obviously, and it's kind of interesting how many people during quarantine have discovered that their apartment or house might be haunted because of Zoom calls, because of like either like having to like get up and like go and do something and then come back, and then the
And
other
something
person
happens.
yeah, like this teacher was having a one-on-one with her student, and the student was like 6. It's not like it was someone who was like cleverly gonna like make something up. He was like a 6-year-old boy, and she had to go get headphones or something, I don't remember. And when she came back, the little boy asked like who was in the room, and she was like, no one. And he was like, someone opened the door and they were in the room. And she was like, she thought maybe he was kidding or like messing with her. But then he described, I guess whoever it was had opened the door and like came in, and the little boy described what both of her cats looked like. And like, she was like, there's no way that he would know what my cats look like. So something came and opened the door and came in, and he got a glimpse of the cats like in the hallway, I guess, while she was gone. And I've seen so many people talking about like over quarantine finding out that like weird stuff happens in their apartments because people are like,
Yeah.
who's behind you?
They're like,
It's like,
what?
No.
I know, Maria, you stayed here while we all went away. Did you see anything creepy? Like
No,
this
but can
mirror, I feel like lends itself to creepiness.
Lauren, you're a woman after my own heart. I was looking. I was like, I'm
I
gonna see
would've.
if anything pops up. Like I just was like, let me see. I'd be like, oh my God, guys, I saw an entity.
I would have
just
done the
check.
exact same thing. And even like last time we did one of these Zoom podcasts with these people called Goth Yearbook, like one of the girls who was on the podcast had such a big open space behind her and an open door with only black
Yeah.
in the opening.
Oh,
So half the time, I must admit, I'm sorry, Caitlin, but it was Caitlin, I was like not even hearing words she was saying because I was glued to the door behind her. And I was like, something's going to walk out.
I know.
Something's going to
yeah.
I can't believe she records like that every week because
She said she has to have it open. And I was saying, like, I'm so the opposite. I'm like, everything closed. I have to, like, know I'm protected.
yeah.
I'm weird like that too. When I sleep, sometimes I leave the door open and sometimes I close it, depending on how like my mood. But the reason why I don't like to leave it open is because I'm afraid somebody's gonna watch me from the doorway. Because when I was a kid,
Yep.
I had, and I think I said this in one of, I can't remember if it was Glitch in the Maria or the other one, but when I was a kid, I saw this giant demon thing. It was like hooded, no face really, and it took up the entire width and height of the door, and it was just it was just in front of me. My bed was right in front of my door, and it was just staring at me, and I opened my eyes and I saw it clear as day, and then I closed my eyes and I went, pretend you're sleeping because then it'll go away, right? And so I can't remember if I fell back asleep or opened my eyes immediately after, but it was gone when I opened my eyes again to see if it was there, and it was gone. But
Damn.
to this day, I still close that door sometimes because I'm like, nah, I don't want. But then when I close it, I'm like, what if it just opens slightly while I'm sleeping? So
And then that's even creepier to watch.
Both are
it.
scary. You can't
yeah,
win.
It's like I can't win. I can't win.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Do we have anything more on the Dybbuk?
Yes.
One last thing that I wanted to say before
Okay.
we had taken a pee break was that the Dybbuk, that word is derived from the Hebrew word Dybbuk, which means to attach. So it makes sense that,
Oh.
and it was like a derivative of another word too, which also meant to cling. So it's a very clingy, kind of attachy sort of spirit.
And it's not necessarily a demon.
It says
This-
it could either be a demon or a disembodied soul of someone who just passed away that seeks resolution or some unfinished business in the world.
Okay. Yeah, because I was going to say, like, there are a lot of things, creatures in different religions or different, cultures or whatever, that when you describe them, the descriptions are demonic. Like, you're like, well, that's a
Right.
demon, but it's like they
Right.
might not believe that it is a demon. They might believe it's something,
In this case, in this specific wine box case, and I'm super into like demon spirits and all that stuff. Not meaning like I like to dabble in it, but I'm very fascinated about it.
Curiosity. You have a curiosity.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a curiosity about it. But what I gathered, it sounded more like it was a demon than an actual just like like a dead person that was
Dude.
like, some dude that was like, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm bored. I'm just going to attach myself to this guy real quick.
Yeah.
Travel the
Dybbuk.
world.
Dybbuk,
But-
schmibik.
Dybbuk schmibik, man.
Give me the ham.
Before we exit, I wanted to give one quick little Mandela effect thing because I
Ooh.
loved Maria's reaction, and I feel like this could still be like quick and not take up a lot of time.
Yes.
And maybe you guys have heard of this, and I was the only idiot. Who do you guys remember being the person that delivered the Publishers Clearinghouse checks?
Ed
Like a
McMahon.
famous person?
Yeah, like who was their spokesperson?
It was
I didn't know that there was
Ed
a
McMahon,
specific
right?
Ed
person.
McMahon. Yeah.
No, that's what I
What?
thought too. Ed McMahon has never delivered an American or a Publishers Clearinghouse check. He actually was a spokesperson for a rival company called, I believe it's American Publishers. Yeah, American Family Publishers. People saw his ads for them, got confused, and have now imagined in their head that Ed McMahon was delivering these checks. He has never ambushed someone at their front door. He has never held a check. And Publishers Clearinghouse just sort of went along with it. They never like came out in the press and said like, no, Ed McMahon doesn't work for us, because it was giving them like so much
Yeah.
notoriety and press. So they went with it and it built them up. But like, it's just average Joes that deliver the checks. Ed McMahon never has.
I was going
And
to say, I
think
thought
it's
it was
crazy.
different people every time. I just experienced a Mandela effect this past year that makes me so mad.
What?
Well, if you picture, you might already know this one, so it might be like spoiled. If you picture the Fruit of the Loom logo,
Oh,
what do
yes.
you picture?
Grapes and
Green
apples.
grapes. Yeah, fruit.
Fruit, nothing else?
Are they like in anything, the fruit, or are they just hanging out?
I mean, I just
I
chilling.
just thought they were like
fruit chilling.
free fruit, like free.
So,
like they were just
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
You're correct. I swear to my ring light that they were in a cornucopia.
What?
That the
No.
Fruit of
In
the
a little
Loom
cornucopia.
logo
Little like
was a cornucopia with the fruit like coming out of it. And
that's Thanksgiving.
I know that, but I cannot
And she's not alone.
accept
Like half the world thinks that too.
that
I'm
there's no
actually with
cornucopia.
you guys, Steve and Maria. Ashley brought this to me and I said the same thing as you. I was like, it's just a bunch of fruit hanging out. And she was like, no, there was a cornucopia.
There was a freaking cornucopia. And if you look at the images side by side, like people like you guys are like, no, that one's right. But I'm like,
I know.
there was a cornucopia.
I don't know what's worse is that I didn't know that it was called a cornucopia, or that I just assumed it was like a wicker seashell. Like, look at that wicker seashell.
That came from nature?
No,
the
that like,
wicker
that, like
seashell.
Someone
that, like the
wove.
pilgrims put together. You know, the pilgrims are like, let's weave this wicker seashell, you know, or a
Wicker
wee shell,
shell.
whatever you want to call it, and let's put it on the table and give it to the natives. You know, I don't know.
I guess.
I mean,
Also, this was interesting because in both cases, me, Steve, and Maria were all in agreement, and you were on the opposite. You didn't remember Ed McMahon, but you think you remembered a cornucopia. So that was an interesting little thing that just happened.
So we're all in different timelines, basically.
Apparently. I'm with Steve and Maria. I'm hanging out in your timeline, I guess.
I'm on my own.
The Ed McMahon thing truly blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought so too.
Could have sworn he held a giant check, guys.
I don't know.
Not for us.
I mean, I kind of remember him doing it, but I just also remember like generic white-haired old guy.
Exactly.
That too would also be like, you know. But wouldn't you be pissed if you won and you thought not only were you getting the money, but Ed McMahon was going to show up, and you're like, where the fuck are you, guy? Where's Ed
Who's
McMahon?
this guy Ray? Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be pissed.
Ray.
Ray.
So thank you guys so much
Thank
for
you guys.
coming on our
Thank you
show
guys.
again for our season 4 finale.
Pleasure.
Thank you
Love
so
it.
much for having us.
Seriously.
Hopefully, season 5, it'll be safe to be in the same room.
Maybe
And
we can
do
meet
this
in
again.
person.
That would be something.
Wouldn't that be
That would
something?
be something.
Seeing
Wouldn't that-
friends.
Do you
Under
guys
one roof.
remember? Do you guys
remember?
remember
Friends?
movie theaters? No, movie theaters.
Barely.
You know,
They
I
were
can't even
places where
imagine
you saw
them.
movies,
Yeah,
right?
on a
Oh.
big
And you were able
screen.
to buy popcorn. What?
Do you know
Can't
why I
believe that
really miss the
exists.
movies? I really miss the movies because when we would go to movies, baby, you wouldn't talk to me throughout the entire film. And now, when we watch stuff, it's like, that's it.
That was the most married conversation I've ever heard, because Alex would say that exact thing about
I was gonna say.
I love my wife.
I was gonna say, where's Joe?
She just loves to like
Talk.
and it's not the typical questions. It's
Well,
not
what
like who's
is
that
it?
guy.
Yeah,
Because
who's that?
they're
Where they go?
intelligent. They're very intelligent questions. Let's
My
make that
wife
clear.
loves to give the on-spot analysis review of the movie while we're watching the movie.
I get that.
And I'll be
get that.
watching it and I'll be so into it and she'll turn and be like, you know what? This is what I think. I think that this actor, and I'm like, I didn't ask you. I didn't ask after the movie. I'll ask you. He's giving the
love
movie. But she'll always turn and go, ooh, let me tell you know what I think? I think he killed. I'm like, I don't care what you think.
Let's
I
find
do,
out
guys.
together.
Let's keep
Yeah.
watching, guys.
Yeah, I watch those movies, and I love scripts. I love movies. So
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever, Steven.
Yeah, Steven.
Steve Ben.
Guess
Ashley, you
whose
should,
bed is not getting pushed together tonight?
The twin beds will not
And
unite
I'm not
this
polishing
evening.
your shoes. I'm not cleaning your shoes.
Oh.
So, well,
Thank you guys. Thank you.
We
for
love
having
you
us on.
guys.
Seriously.
Thanks for
love
coming.
you guys. You guys, and you're amazing. Seriously, you guys are kicking ass.
Yeah.
Keep kicking ass.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
Seriously.
you.
Seriously.
And Merry Christmas.
And
Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you and yours.
Yes, and happy
Yes.
Hanukkah, Shalom, to my Jewish
Yes.
listeners.
Yes.
Today, I think, was the last day. What's today? Well, I don't
Oh,
know.
I'm a really bad Jewish girlfriend. I'm a really bad
Oh.
shiksa.
Is that the term?
I do
Never
not
know.
know.
Did you make that up?
No,
that's
that's a term.
shiksa. Yeah.
Ashley,
It's a
I'm gonna get you.
non-Jewish girlfriend. Yeah.
I'm gonna make you a nameplate, and it's gonna say
Please.
Shiksa.
With
That's
like
pretty cool.
3 A's at the end. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
I like it.
Perfect.